up, guys? Welcome back to Nowhere, where we like to talk about pop culture, past, present, and future. And today, guys, we're going to be doing a movie review for Deadpool and Wolverine. We just got back from seeing it. The first half of this video is definitely going to be spoiler free, but I want to give you guys a heads up. The second part of the video is definitely going to be heavy spoilers.
And we'll mention it before we get into any plot points or anything.
Absolutely. All right, I mean, just starting it off, I want to say this was a great movie. I had a lot of fun with this movie. I feel like it did exactly what it needed to do. Um, People who are saying that this movie's saved the MCU or anything like that, I feel is definitely mischaracterizing this movie because it definitely didn't save the. Go ahead. What are you gonna say? It didn't save the MCU.
Didn't say the MCU, but definitely the best MCU movie in quite a while.
Absolutely. Probably since No Way Home. You know, definitely since No Way Home. I would put it on par with that. Maybe not. Maybe No Way Home's just a little bit better as far as story wise. This movie did everything it needed to do. It had the action, it had the comedy, the sets were nice. It did bring Deadpool into the and Wolverine into the MCU. But there were some lacking story points. I don't feel like this wasn't the best story told that could have been told, in my opinion. It doesn't compare to like the first Deadpool. That movie, like, probably one of the best comic book movies ever made. So it's hard to compare it. And honestly, I wouldn't even want to rank this movie along with the other two movies, because this movie is, in fact, this isn't Deadpool 3. It is Deadpool 3 in spirit, but this is Deadpool and Wolverine.
It is literally the same vibe as No Way Home. I got the same exact vibe. Not to spoil anything, but there are definitely very, very similar aspects of the story. I feel like it does follow a very formulaic MCU kind of story outline, but it does have that, charisma of Deadpool, and, it's obviously good to see Logan again. It's been a minute, so he's definitely a great addition to that. Overall, I said it immediately as soon as we left the theater. 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10 for sure.
The comedy hit. I don't know if I can say any more beyond that because I don't want to spoil anything, but the story was not the best. As you were saying earlier, Deadpool 1 and 2 definitely, in terms of actual, integrity and structure to the story, is better, 100%. This is very fan servicey.
But I was gonna, and I want to, if you don't mind, I want to hop on that point of fan service, because that was gonna be the next thing I was gonna bring up. This movie is full of fan service, full of it. Sometimes, and I don't want to say with this movie in particular, but sometimes in movies that's not a good thing. Like, yeah, you could give fan service, but it's not good. This fan service was definitely warranted. This fan service definitely made the movie better, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
The cameos, without spoiling any of the cameos, I feel like a lot of the cameos hit. There were some I don't even want to say misses, but some, you know what I mean? And they even addressed that in the movie. And once we get into the spoiler section of this, I'll go in a little bit more detail of what I mean by that. Some of the CGI in this movie in certain spots definitely was questionable. Yep, that was exactly the word I was gonna say. Questionable. Yeah, but like I said, if you're going into this movie hoping for Avengers Endgame, hoping, for the Infinity War or anything like that, that's not what you're gonna get. If you're going into this movie knowing that this movie is going to fall on the shoulders of the chemistry between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, then I believe you're gonna have a great time. And that's
Yep.
literally what I went in here for, was to see Deadpool and Wolverine together, to see the chemistry between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. And in all honesty, I believe it was there. This movie was 100% solid. This was not a bad movie. This was actually a really good movie, and it has a lot of rewatchability. You know what I'm saying? Um, but this movie did not save the MCU. If anybody thinks that, if anyone's gonna say that, I'm just gonna go ahead and highly disagree with them. I want to say some things, but I'm gonna save it for the spoiler section again. But like I said, if you were going in this movie looking for Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman as Deadpool and Wolverine, if you're looking for all the Deadpool isms that Ryan Reynolds has, you're gonna get it. If you're looking for that Hugh Jackman energy as Wolverine, he's got plenty of it to spare. Um, this movie was not, and when I say this movie doesn't save the MCU, there's a specific reason why I say that. And that's not because the movie's not good. The movie was fantastic. The movie was amazing, as far as action, comedy, chemistry. Um, but it lacked in the story department in certain aspects. You know what I mean?
100%. I think you hit the nail on the head. You go in, if you're going into this, expect a good MCU movie, but it is not even close to the best.
Yeah.
Again, the chemistry, amazing. If you're going into this and if you like Deadpool in general, you're gonna like this movie.
Absolutely.
If you like Wolverine, you're gonna like this movie.
And I was gonna say, even, and the thing about it is, I feel like this is the most Deadpool has been in a movie. Like, and that's not to say that makes the movie better than the other Deadpool movies, but it definitely, you see Deadpool full on display. This is comic book Deadpool. Fourth wall breaks, comedy where everything's a joke. Absolutely, absolutely. I guess the last little thing I'm gonna say before we hop into the spoiler side of this is, and damn, I just lost it just like that. Oh, if I had to put these movies in order, in rankings, it would go 1, 3, 2. In my opinion.
I respect that. I agree with that.
Absolutely. You got anything you want to say? Anything else before we get into the spoilers part of this?
No, I'm ready to get into the spoilers. There's definitely some things to talk about there.
Absolutely. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. This is the spoiler warning. We're about to go into the spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Henry Cavill as motherfucking Wolverine. God damn, that shit fire. I'm gonna fuck with nobody saying, bro.
That was very unexpected, but it was cool.
That shit,
especially when especially when all of the other versions of Wolverine were
just Hugh Jackman in this one version.
And the version is just fucking Henry Cavill.
And he pumped his fucking he fucking loaded his fish. Like, badass, bro. Badass. I mean, if the spot was open, and I'm not saying it is, but if the spot was open, that man could definitely fill the role. He looked big as fuck. He looked mean. I can't wait to see the movie over again, just so I could get a better look at that cameo, because now I know what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying?
Very cool cameo for sure.
I had to get that out of the way.
Also, the first version of Wolverine that Deadpool visited was hilarious, bro.
The fact that it was just a skeleton.
No. He looked hard as hell, but he was like, what, 4'3"?
Oh yeah. The comic book accurate Wolverine.
Yeah.
That was he was ready to go. He was ready to go with him.
Yeah.
He was ready to go with him. What I thought you were talking about was like the very first instance of Wolverine is he's digging him up.
The introduction scene.
Yeah.
Honestly, that introduction scene was fire. My favorite introduction scene in probably any MCU movie. The Backstreet Boys
And then
and just
he's
going on like a
killing
killing
it
rampage.
and dancing at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, bro, oh my gosh, yes,
That was
absolutely.
fantastic.
Loved it.
I vibe with that scene so hard.
That's
That was wonderful. That was just Deadpool through and through.
absolutely probably the best opening to a Deadpool movie, and probably one of the best, if not the best opening to an MCU movie. Cause
100%
man,
agree. I was loving that the entire time it was going on.
that shit was fire.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
it was. It was. Um, but yes, um, cameos were very cool. I don't know if we want to get into all of them yet. Probably some things to cover prior to that.
Yeah, there's some things I want to touch on. I didn't mean to interrupt you. If you want to,
No, go ahead. Go ahead. What do you want to touch on prior to that?
what I was gonna say was, I was bringing up the point earlier about people saying that this movie is supposed to save the MCU. Well, let me elaborate on why I feel like this movie doesn't save the MCU. For one, this movie is a standalone movie. Yeah, they brought Deadpool into the MCU, but they brought Deadpool into the MCU for a standalone Deadpool movie. Like, this movie does nothing to further anything that's going on in the MCU's plot. Like, it's just another multiversal movie, and a reason for Disney to say that they've got Deadpool. Which I'm not saying they did a bad job at all, but this movie didn't do anything to further the MCU. This movie was a standalone movie, and one good day, you know what I'm saying? You have a bunch of bad days, then you have one good day, doesn't mean that you're automatic. This is the complete turnaround. You know what I mean? Like, there's still room for failure. Just because the MCU has been churning out things, and they have either been mid or bad. You know what I mean? And now that we've got something that's actually really good, you know, definitely above average, more than subpar, great entertainment, you know what I mean?
Yep.
People instantly want to latch to that and hang on to that. And I'm not willing to just go and say, I'm not willing to jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, the MCU is saved because Deadpool. No.
I really thought it would further the MCU in general, especially I don't because I mean I'm sure not everyone has seen this, but I when the prior movies that we had watched, and it was the little commercial with Deadpool and Wolverine that are like, turn your fucking phones off.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, you'll never guess who's gonna be in
Future Wars,
in Secret Wars.
Future Wars,
Yeah.
Secret Wars, yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. So they definitely hyped it up a little bit, just not to deliver anything.
Absolutely. I thought this would push the overarching narrative of the MCU further. And the question is Wade in the sacred timeline, or is Wade still in his timeline? Because at that point, you just made a
I think he went back to his timeline, but he was in the sacred timeline.
Yeah, I feel like if he went back to his timeline, and him and and everybody can just live, and don't get me wrong, that's what the point. That's what the
he
point.
Literally just kidnapped. He literally just took Wolverine and brought him back to his timeline.
Exactly. So I mean, like, at that point, it's like he's not even really in the MCU. This is just Deadpool.
No, he's not, because they don't have access to the what's it called, the time splitter or the time.
Yeah.
They don't have access to that anymore.
One of the temple pads or whatever they use to travel between timelines.
He was part of the, or he had access to the MCU for a second, but then they got rid of it at the end of the movie.
Absolutely, that's true. That's so true. And I wish somehow they could have. I feel like, okay.
Real quick, granted that organization does still exist and they do have access to more of those, but it just seemed like a weird conclusion. But we'll get into that as we get,
It just feels like the other, even Deadpool 2, and I'm not saying that Deadpool 2 is a better movie than this one, but it just felt like the stakes were higher. The stakes are definitely higher in this one as far as like world-ending shit.
Yeah.
But I don't need that in a Deadpool movie. I don't need Deadpool to like save the world, which is cool. I'm glad he did. That's badass. It was a great movie. But I feel like the stakes in the other two Deadpool movies resonated more with me because it felt more.
They were more personal.
Exactly, more personal.
He had built relationships, and it was you know, character conflict, personal character conflict. This was just like this was a very random plot. You know, it didn't have any build up to it or anything. It was like a one off, honestly.
Absolutely, that's what it was. Literally a reason
Yeah.
to bring Deadpool into the MCU, which once again, like I said, it doesn't make it a bad movie. You know what I mean? This movie
It was a very enjoyable movie.
enjoyable,
Very enjoyable.
yeah, like I said, one of the most enjoyable MCU movies that I've seen in a while. It's just if you wanted to sit, if we wanted to sit and dissect it and like break it down, we could completely and say this is why this movie blah blah blah. But this movie was good. There's just some parts of it, just like any movie, just like anything that you watch. There's some things that you're gonna see and you're gonna be like, hey, I don't understand that or I don't agree with that. But I'm not gonna pick it apart either. Like I love this movie. I'm more than likely gonna go see this movie again in theaters.
Dude, just in the recent, I mean, they even picked fun at it in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, so many bad movies or takes or whatever they said.
It's like we're done with the multiverse. We're done.
Yeah,
It's played
yeah.
out. Like
Yeah.
during the movie.
For sure. They were definitely poking fun at Fox or poking fun at Disney. This, in retrospect, has been the best. Absolutely. Even though it follows a Marvel formula, it still breaks away from the mold in that it's super mature. They curse. There's gore. It's a completely different tone than what we get. I feel like MCU is very recycled concept. You know, it follows a very similar structure with each movie, and this was, while it did follow a similar structure, very different. And it wasn't afraid to make fun of Marvel or Disney or Fox or anything. It just
They were letting the jokes fly, and anybody could have been hit with them. It didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? There was no one was safe. No one.
I mean, literally, as soon as they got to the void, fucking, they crashed into a Fox
sign.
Yeah.
A torn down 20th century Fox sign.
Yeah.
That's badass though. That whole fight scene was badass. Sick. Yeah, for sure. Let's talk. We're talking about the void. I want to go ahead and get another one of these cameos out there, bro. Chris Evans, bro. They faked us out, bro. They faked us out.
The red, white, and blue. The red, white, and blue.
I'm like, bro, Captain America.
Captain America, let's go. You literally even looked over to your shoulder and said, Captain America. Captain America.
Right, and then he jumps down.
Flame on!
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, man. Shit.
They got us good. They got me good anyway. Because I was sold. I'm like, oh man, Chris Evans, Captain America, bro. Look at it. I thought it might have been and it sounded like Chris Evans. I'm like, maybe they got Captain America, but it's like a different Captain America or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then boom, he said flame on. That shit sent me, bro. I was like, what? Like, bro.
Yeah, that was awesome.
One thing I want to.
But it was also the way Wolverine and Deadpool reacted to it. Like, this is fucking Captain America. You know?
Absolutely. They sold they
sold that well.
They did. They played they took me for a loop there because I definitely thought it was Captain America, and then flame on that shit right there. That was good. That was just good cameo and good on Chris Evans, bro, to be a different character, actually feel like a different character, and bring that nostalgia factor back to the days where he played characters like that, bro. You remember like not another
he
teen.
Killed that, bro.
Not another teen.
That was home.
Yes, bro. I was gonna say
that was home for him.
Exactly. It brings me back to the times where he's like in movies like Not Another Teen Movie, and in the original Fantastic Four, where he was like that playboy funny man. You know what I'm saying? I enjoyed it, bro. And then to bring it back at the very end of the movie, great, bro, great.
Yes. Even though that was I really was expecting something to again push the MCU forward, but I mean that it was funny. It was a funny ending credit scene, but it wasn't. I mean, it had no impact really. It was just goofy.
Yeah, absolutely. For people, and I'm gonna go ahead and since we're in the spoiler part of it, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys, if you're going into this movie, thinking that there's gonna be a post credit scene, there's not. It's a joke. That's it. Like
It's a
that's
joke,
literally it.
but
It's not a bad
it's
joke.
Deadpool. It's Deadpool.
It's
I
Deadpool.
mean, like, yeah, it's Deadpool.
Not a bad joke
Yeah,
at all.
it's funny.
Yeah.
You'll laugh.
But
Um,
it's just that's all it was a joke. Like it wasn't like something serious.
can we get into some of these other cameos?
We can. I want to ask you one thing though. What did you think about the villain, Cassandra Nova?
See, this is a problem I have with a lot of different stories. Not even just superhero stories, but this is a villain that had literally no build up. We go to the Void. She's very shortly introduced as the big baddie of the Void. Um, Xavier's sister, in the womb,
Yep.
that she almost killed Xavier, and he never knew she existed, and she's just this fucking psychopath, and she's the main antagonist. I don't know. It just felt very shoehorned in. Like,
I will tell you
um,
this that all the things were like very comic book accurate. Cassandra Nova is like her character was comic book.
for sure, but it just felt random. It just felt very random.
It could have been a better villain, in my
Could
opinion.
have been a better villain, but I, I honestly thought the organization would be the villain. Like I thought they would be the
and
main
they
villain.
were to an extent.
To some degree, it wasn't even the organization itself. It was just that guy.
A splinter cell inside the TVA.
Yeah, but they should have just, if they were going that route, I felt like they should have just kept it at that.
Absolutely.
Having her end up being the main antagonist, it just felt very forced. And especially after they had that, heartfelt moment where Wolverine is like, this is what Xavier would want me to do is spare you, and then she goes full psychotic for some reason. It's just odd to me.
Absolutely, I feel that. I feel like, in my opinion, no matter what, this movie fell on Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman's shoulders for their chemistry and stuff like that. So
for sure, but I just want to elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
She felt psychotic without reason. Like there was, what was her reason? Like it just felt so weird. It didn't seem natural at all. It's just like she was evil just for the sake of being evil, and that's cool, in some stories. But this literally just felt like a plot device that had no meaning other than a commonality between Wolverine and Deadpool to take out, the threat.
Absolutely.
Or to have some, or to set up some big sacrificial scene, like the ending.
Yeah. I feel like this movie was literally just a vice. Once again, I'll say it, a vice for Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, which I'm all here for it. You know what I mean?
To be fair though, yes, they did execute that chemistry perfectly.
Yeah. It's literally, there was just some things that lacked, just like story wise, just the villain wasn't great, and some story beats just didn't hit. Like I feel like it could have been improved in some ways. But let's just be honest, like they were like, we're gonna do this. The movie started, once they started filming, the movie started pumping itself out. You know what I mean? So there wasn't like, I don't think, not to say there wasn't as much thought put into it as there could have, because I feel like there was a lot of thought, but I feel like there was more heart, and this movie was built for fan service. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed. I mean, regardless of how good or bad this movie was, then it would make a shit ton of money. I really think they did rush it. I think it could have used some more time in the oven. I think that was definitely apparent, and as we discussed earlier, after we watched the movie, with some of the CGI.
That was literally going to be my next point, and that could take us into the cameos some of the cameos as well.
Yeah. Just to go a little bit into the CGI, as you were saying, some of the Wolverine's fighting scenes look a little odd, like his claws weren't, they didn't look right, or they weren't connecting properly.
Absolutely.
And when they were
when they jumped out of the
yeah, we'll get into that though when we talk about
okay, so let's just go ahead and hop into it. So basically, there's a Deadpool corpse in the movie, and Deadpool and Wolverine have to go through all these Deadpools and fight them. Well, while they're
Right.
going through it, they're on the bus. They go through a bus. And when they hop out the window, the CGI looks wonky.
It looks so unnatural. It looked like literally like a video game or something.
And I'm happy
It
to
was
see. I was happy to see Hugh Jackman don the cowl. You know what I mean?
yeah, it was very badass. The still shot of them jumping out of the back of the bus.
Badass.
But as soon as they landed and
He
like
starts fighting again.
starts fighting, that shit looks so weird.
His
Like that was
claws,
not.
his claws were gone. Like it's like his claws were gone or like disappearing or whatever. And I don't know.
And the actual model itself, or the actors, the CGI, especially Wolverine. Like I noticed with the most Wolverine because he's not fully covered in a suit.
Yeah,
Looked very animated.
absolutely.
It was jarring. It was a little jarring.
Yeah.
So definitely, it was. I think that was a big indicator that they were trying to get this out as soon as possible. That definitely could have been worked on a little bit more.
Absolutely. And I was gonna say, like, just to add some positive in here, while we're talking about some of the negatives. Hugh Jackman moved, and he's old. He's older now, but he moved in this movie better than I've seen him move in any other, like, any other movie that he's been in as Wolverine.
I mean, yeah, for sure, bro. And that ending scene where Deadpool's got the positive and Wolverine's got the negative, or vice versa, and his shirt fucking burns off, and we see how fucking jacked he is.
Hugh Jackman is.
Yeah, how old is he, dude? He's like 60 at this point.
He's like
50
55.
Yeah, he's up there in age, and he's just just a monster. He's a monster.
Hugh Jackman.
Jackman. This is just he's changed his name to Jacked Man.
Jack
At an ED.
Man, for sure. Yeah, he but not even just, yes, for sure that he definitely looked the part, but the movement, bro, like when he's fighting Deadpool and things like that, like how he went low, bro, that animalistic style of Wolverine.
Oh yeah, when he was like literally
crawling. Yes.
Yeah, bro.
That shit was badass.
That was awesome.
That shit was awesome. Badass.
I enjoyed the action scenes a lot.
Absolutely. The action scenes were top notch. Like, I don't think anyone could go in this movie and complain about the action sequences. The action sequence, one of my favorite action sequences was when they literally just fought in the car. Like, the shit never left the car. They were just fucking each other up.
Just fucking each other up. And then at the end of it, we see,
he's all cocooned
up.
Or
they drive off, he's cocooned up in the fucking seatbelts. Like, that was hilarious.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great scene. Hugh Jackman, yeah, for his age, is just a monster. Ridiculous.
He looks great.
He could definitely play Wolverine for a few more years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's talk about some more of these cameos. Before we get into the really good cameos, I want to just go ahead and mention all these guys all at once. They brought a lot of the original Fox characters back. They weren't all, and this is the problem I have. They weren't all played, and it's not necessarily a problem. It's a multiverse. Of course, they're not all gonna look the same. Whatever, blah blah blah. The void, but they brought back some of the characters, like the actors. They brought back a lot of the characters, but just brought back some of the actors. And I know some of these actors couldn't have been that hard to be like, hey, would you like the cameo in this? But I guess they spent their budget on the really good cameos, so maybe that was it.
Yes, but yeah. Can we just get into the cameos, man? Because I do have a problem. Who gives a fuck about Elektra, bro? Like, I mean, she's cool, but everybody wanted to see Ben Affleck's Daredevil. Ben Affleck's Daredevil with Blade, with Gambit. Gambit was awesome.
Channing Tatum
killed that, bro.
Great, bro.
That was he fucking killed that character. Hilarious.
Him and Ryan Reynolds, bro. Yes. His movement, the movement in this movie in general, bro.
Bro, his fighting scenes were
boom.
Some of the best,
yes,
honestly.
Absolutely.
Ridiculous.
The fact that he was talking about that he never really got his opportunity to be Gambit, you know what I mean? Like that he's even like without directly, talking into the camera, he's being meta as fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he had been cast as Gambit years and years ago, but it never came through, And by that time, Fox and now Fox had sold the Disney and everything, so he never got his opportunity. Boom, they give him his opportunity. He fucking killed it. Of course, they played this more for a jokey role because it's Deadpool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But it was awesome. The way him and Ryan Reynolds played off each other, Deadpool and Gambit. He was like, I feel like the people were missing important dialogue here because he's speaking his Cajun accent.
Yeah. Dude, his accent was
fantastic.
It's fucking hilarious, bro.
He's from Louisiana.
Yeah. But it was great. It was great the just the interaction between him and Deadpool.
Absolutely. Blade, bro, bringing Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes, bro, he killed that shit.
It's like
killed that shit.
Motherfucker still trying to ice skate up hills, man.
How old is Wesley Snipes at this point, bro? I was honestly
65 plus. Got like 65.
I was extremely surprised by that cameo, bro. Like, yes, he's not as big as he used to be, obviously, but he's 61.
Yeah, 61.
He's not as big as he used to be, obviously, because he's an old man now, but he still killed that fucking role, bro. I would honestly, bro, Blade 4, Wesley Snipes, that shit would be lit. He could do it, 100%.
Nah, let Mahershala Ali go ahead and take the reins to it, man.
Yeah, if he ever takes the reins,
if they ever let him get his movie out there, dude, that's not that fucking jab, bro. Of yeah, I'm the one. How many Punishers is there? It's like yeah, I'm the one and only Blade, like basically.
And I'll always be the only Blade.
Yeah, type shit. And then Deadpool looked in the camera like,
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
I'm not gonna be the one to mention it to him.
I don't know, bro. I mean, if not to get off topic, but I don't think it's been in development for a very long time, bro. I think Ali might drop out before
it'll happen,
comes to fruition.
I think it'll happen just because, one, I don't think Kevin Feige would let them take the shots that they did in this movie if they weren't gonna go through with Mahershala Ali's Blade. Because, like, how you going to let Wesley Snipes, unless they just completely already scrapped it, you know what I mean? Wesley Snipes said, I'm the one and only, and I'm the only Blade that's ever going to be type deal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's talk about Mr. Paradox, bro. I feel like Mr. Paradox would have been a better full, like, the main villain, instead of like just being that like side part that he was, which he really was the main villain.
Technically he was the main villain, but they focused way too much on
Cassandra Nova.
On Cassandra, yeah.
Absolutely.
And they made him goofy. They made him really goofy.
Yeah.
Especially at the end, like he's just weak, bro. He's just a villain with no power, really.
Yeah.
Just a schemer, bro. He's just a schemer.
Absolutely.
They could have made him way more badass. More menacing, more of a threat. I mean, really, he never seemed like a threat. Like, he always seemed like Deadpool could take him out at any moment. He literally broke his nose before he just got sent to a different dimension, bro. It was weird. They had Cassandra in mind the entire time, but they should have chose one or the other.
Absolutely.
You know, and just focus on them.
I can agree with that. 100%.
Trying to mix both of them together was just weird. You know, neither of them really seemed like.
It's like one or the other. Pick one or the other.
Pick one or yeah.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Absolutely. I was gonna say, before we start getting to the end of the video, I want to mention Dogpool.
Dogpool.
Great.
Amazing. And the scenes Deadpool had with Dogpool were hilarious.
Lick him in the fucking mouth.
Yes, and what was it? Nice pool.
Nice pool. Yeah.
Fucking hilarious, bro.
Yes, bro.
Hilarious. I love his character.
Where's your mask? Mask. You see my face?
Look at me.
Like, oh my gosh, Ryan Reynolds, man. Ryan Reynolds.
I can make fourth wall breaks too. The proposal?
Like, bro, that's not how that works.
And oh my god, dude, the scene where Deadpool is using him as
His
a human
shield,
body.
just so he could get his
Like,
guns.
yeah, his guns and his fucking dog, dude. Oh
Absolutely.
my god, that was hilarious. That was probably the funniest scene in the movie, dude. I laughed my ass off.
Absolutely.
Fucking hilarious. It was cool to see it. I mean, I didn't realize it at first until you said it, but Ryan Reynolds' wife,
Blake Lively as
Blake Lively, yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, she looked really fucking good. I mean, I know she was wearing a suit, but
Yeah,
like,
she looked good
that
in
was
the
like a
costume.
perfect.
Yeah.
That was a perfect female Deadpool, bro.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Eli, you want to get into your overall thoughts, spoilers, everything?
Overall thoughts. The comedy hit. I mean, there may have been some things that landed flat, you know, that I didn't exactly laugh at, but there was a lot of things that I laughed out loud at, you know, which is that's kind of rare for me, you know, for something to, you know, hit like that and make me laugh. Um, Again, the story felt short, but I feel like the overarching chemistry between Wolverine and Deadpool overshadowed that, and I was still able to completely, you know, enjoy the film. I felt like maybe the Void was a little too. Uh, I think that was maybe the slowest part of the movie, especially like towards the middle. You know, when they actually first arrive at the Void, and you know the whole Furiosa aspect to it. A little thrown off there, but it picked up quick, so it's not really that big of a deal. Again, the chemistry between Hugh Jackman and Deadpool carried that movie, and then shortly after we went into the cameos. Um, so I mean, again, it picked up quick. It wasn't bad. Um, I thought the ending, even though it followed a very formulaic MCU, this is the big baddie of the movie. They'll have no relevance later. They had no relevance before. But this is, you know, the main enemy right now. Again, Deadpool and Wolverine, their chemistry carried that last scene, bro. The way they were, you know, taking the brunt of the impact of the reactor or whatever the time splitter together. It was badass. It was badass. Um, and having Hugh Jackman, Deadpool not letting Hugh Jackman just self-sacrifice, um, and Hugh Jackman not letting, you know,
Deadpool self-sacrifice.
Deadpool self-sacrifice. They really came together, and that ending, you know, a little bit where, you know, Wolverine's trying to leave, and like Deadpool's like, when will I see you again? And he's like, probably never. Deadpool ain't letting that shit happen. You're moving in with bro. We're like a team now. You know,
Absolutely.
we're a partnership. Like that. I love that. I feel like Deadpool and Wolverine make such a great combo. Overall, I think it was a really good movie. While some of the plot points were not great, again, it really wasn't about the plot at the end of the day. It was about Deadpool and Wolverine, and they killed that aspect.
Absolutely. Uh I guess my final thoughts would be that I really enjoyed this movie. No matter, I mean, you can always find things that, you know, you'll find wrong in the movie, but at the end of the day, this movie did a very good job for fan service, giving the fans what they wanted. Deadpool and Wolverine, the chemistry was there. The action sets look beautiful. The comedy hit. There's not really that many great comedies, and it's crazy how Deadpool, you know, and it's actually comedy's really fallen on the superhero genre. You know what I'm saying? So
comedy is just shit right now in general, and this is probably one of the best comedy movies
absolutely
in the past few years.
Yes,
which is saying something.
and I 100% agree with that. And not all the jokes are gonna land for everybody. If you don't understand, if you first of all, if you haven't seen all the movies or anything like that, you're not gonna, you know what I mean. But the jokes hit for me. The acting was on point. I enjoyed the cameos. I'm glad that we got this fan service. I needed that. I needed the fan service. Uh, I'm trying to think of some. I enjoyed everything. Costume designs. I'm glad Wolverine finally got his cowl. Um,
That
I'm
scene was sick, bro. When he pulled that down before fighting all the Deadpools, that was awesome seeing him in his full costume like that.
absolutely. I think as a whole, like I said, as a whole, this was a very good movie. It was done properly, in a way that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman could succeed, and they definitely succeeded in my eyes. Like I said, is this the best superhero film I've ever seen? No. Is this saving the MCU? I don't think so, because I feel like this, no matter if they say it's in the MCU or not, this is a standalone film for Deadpool and Wolverine. Um,
Either of which have been part of the MCU so far. So
Absolutely. Like there's the MCU cameos, like the actual characters that were in the MCU
we're really just Fox.
were on the, no, were like on the screen or something. You know what I mean? Like there was, or the only real one I guess was
Chris
Happy
Evans.
Hogan. I mean, Chris Evans was Human Torch though. It wasn't like it was Captain America. It wasn't anybody from.
That's what I'm saying though. It didn't really. What was the connection to the MCU? Like Chris Evans, if he was Captain America, yeah, it would have had some connection to the MCU, but
He was
he
the
was
Human
fucking
Torch.
Human Torch.
Exactly.
So it was really just callbacks to Fox movies.
But it's still, I'm glad. Do I believe that this was like the farewell song for Fox? I feel like you need a bigger movie than this for it to be a farewell, for Fox personally. But do they do a good job of sending off the characters they did have? I absolutely believe so. I think that this movie um is definitely rewatchable. I think that everyone should give it a try. You know what I mean? I feel like this, you can't go wrong with this movie. I think everyone's going to find something that they enjoy, you know?
It's something that they dislike, but I feel like the joy of this movie is out far outweighs the dislikes.
Absolutely. The enjoyment that you get from this movie will outweigh those little minuscule concerns that you had. And if you really like, and you have to really be looking and trying to nitpick to find them. Because if not, if you're just in there just enjoying the movie for what it is, and you know that's what you're in there to do, then I think that you might enjoy this movie even more than I enjoyed this movie, because I went into the movie, looking at it from the perspective of someone who was going to talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I didn't go in with that perspective, if I went in with just a blank, hey, you know, I'm gonna watch this just solely for entertainment purposes, um, then I feel like maybe I might even enjoy the movie a little bit more. You know,
Right.
but altogether,
If
like
you
I
like Ron humor, regardless of if you're an MCU fan, Deadpool fan, Wolverine, if you've never even seen anything in the MCU but you like raunchy humor, you're probably gonna like this movie. I
absolutely,
guarantee it.
absolutely.
That's a rarity. I feel like that's a rarity nowadays.
I would, like I said, I would give this movie a solid 7 out of 10, maybe a 7.5 out of 10. I want to go back and watch the movie again just so I can, see exactly where this sits with me, see how everything hits the second time, as well as seeing what I missed the first time around.
Agreed. I'm still, no matter what, I'm leaving it out of a 7 out of 10 because while they excelled at everything else, story is obviously a very
It's
important
very
part
important.
of the score.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So they nailed everything else. The story was lackluster. I think you and Terrence, we all kind of agreed on a 7 out of 10
Yeah,
initially,
for
just
sure.
walking out of the movie. So, I'm gonna leave mine at that. Great movie, but not a masterpiece, not the best. Um, but still, definitely worth the watch. 100%.
1,000% for sure. All right, Eli, you want to let the comment section do what it do?
I think we have to.
I think we got to, man. All right, guys. I want to leave it down to you guys in the comments section. Why don't you let us know what you think of Deadpool and Wolverine? And if you guys don't mind, hit that like button. It always helps the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Come back and see us again. We're going to be doing more movie reviews and discussions
Every week for like the next month.
every week. We're going to be
Yeah.
doing something every week. And then we got reactions and everything else on the channel, guys. So go ahead and check it out. Let us know what you guys think. I think I want to change it up. You think it's let's fucking go?
Fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Fucking go.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next episode. As always, peace.
Peace.